Check. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's good. How about this one? This is the sound of the Buddha Broadcasting Network. 1, 2, 3, 4. All systems are go. We are T-1 and counting. Prepare for meditation. better than again. Good morning, my friends. Or as our guest Richard Lang from last week would have done. All right. Are we alive? Good. Liking and disliking is the theme for today, the second foundation of mindfulness, and how we can make ourselves continuously unhappy by identifying with the human organism's natural liking and disliking. So let's begin with let me first, who's here for the first time today? Well, congratulations. You're that from within which is seeking freedom is of such strength for you that you actually came this morning to try some new place. That's pretty wonderful. And if this isn't the right place, take heart, because there is a right place, and keep looking, because Portland, like any great American city at this point, has representatives of these spiritual traditions from all over the world. And with people who, like myself, my recommendation is find someone who's been teaching for 30 years or so, 20 anyway, and who ideally comes from some kind of a tradition. Not necessarily, but there's a certain safety in that. But I hope today suits you and that you discover that this could be a nice home for yourself. So please turn to hymn number 1. We only have 2 or 3 hymns, so. The refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Refuge in that which is awake, and in that which is awake discovers, which is the way things are, and in the community of practice. Yay, close enough. So, please join in as makes sense for you. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. Dharma, I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love. Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community of mindful harmony. Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya. And with feeling, I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Buddhaya. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and love. Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Dharmaya. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community of mindful harmony. Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya, Namo Sanghaya. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. A poem by Shodo Harada Roshi. In this passing moment, karma ripens and all things come to be. I vow to choose what is. If there is a cost, I choose to pay. If there is need, I choose to give. If there is pain, I choose to feel. If there is sorrow, I choose to grieve. When burning, I choose heat. When calm, I choose peace. When starving, I choose hunger. When happy, I choose joy. Whom I encounter, I choose to meet. What I shoulder, I choose to bear. When it is my death, I choose to die. Where this takes me, I choose to go. Being with what is, I respond to what is. This life is as real as a dream. The one who knows it cannot be found. And truth is not a thing. Therefore, I vow to choose this Dharma entrance gate. May all Buddhas and wise ones help me in this vow. This life is as real as a dream. The one who knows it can never be found. And truth is not a thing. Therefore, I vow to choose this Dharma entrance gate. May all Buddhas and wise ones help me to live this vow. So it would behoove us to be aware of what our intention is at this moment. Is the intention to finally have some moments of peace where the mind is quiet and where the mood is pleasant and where the external world behaves for a little while like I want it to? A time with no physical pain, no sense of sickness. Is the intention to have the kind of concentration I had last week when I was here? Or the blissful feelings that I had a few weeks ago, do I want that back now? All this wanting for something to be a particular way results in dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, suffering. And it would be a totally different practice if we sat down with the intention of really a scientific observation. What is happening now? What is the reality of this moment? What is happening in the body? What life is available to that which knows? Noticing the tingling and aliveness in what you call your hands. Notice some region of warmth in the body, or a region of cool. Notice the life in that region of the universe that you identify with as your face. Cheeks, lips, eyes, forehead. And the feet and legs. And changing the station to that of mind. What's happening when awareness tunes in to that region of the universe where thoughts occur, where mood arises? It's that place where the past and future exists in the mind. And it's helpful to have some kind of a home base, something that occurs in the present moment to which we can attend. And most often, we start off with mindfulness of the sensations of in-breathing and out-breathing. To be there, to be present in the sensations of life, breathing, means you're not lost in the fantasy life of the mind. This morning I'd like to draw your attention to sound as your primary object. Notice how this voice appears and then disappears. And then there are other sounds, little creakings, perhaps your own breathing, the breathing of someone near you. And there's that high-pitched ringing sound in the ears. It's an artifact of having a human ear hearing system. Some people have this in an extreme form that's called tinnitus or tinnitus. So there's awareness and this sound. One of the elder Theravadan Buddhist monk teachers, Ajahn Sumedho, refers to this as the sound of silence, or the nada sound. Hearing. Please notice how when awareness and this inner sound are joined, the mind is not lost in its fantasies of past and future. It's just here. Hearing. Hearing. If you were one of those folks who suffers from tinnitus, this could be quite an aversive practice, disliking. Hearing. Notice how those sounds are not a dog. They're sounds that memory creates a dog out of. The sound changes in intensity and direction. We create a model of space and distance, location. Just like with the breath, when the mind wanders off, when we fall into the trance of everyday life, there then is a moment of waking up. And then of returning, of selecting sound, the inner sound, the outer sound. And then it takes a certain effort or intention to come home to that hearing and then to stay. you probably notice that our old companions, desire and aversion, are frequent visitors. Similarly, restlessness, agitation, and worry, sloth and torpor, dullness, sleepiness, and perhaps doubt. These great five energies tend to be experienced as unpleasant, and aversion arises. Sometimes self-aversion. Why can't I control my mind? What's wrong with me? Or, I think I did the wrong thing this morning. I should have slept in. Or, this practice doesn't work for me. Or just losing consciousness frequently. Why does this stupid mind have to keep worrying? Why is it so judgmental? Why am I so judgmental? And this is why we cultivate in our practice the quality of metta, or loving kindness, in which there's room for everything. May I come to accept the experience of this moment exactly as it is. Coming home to that mysterious sound, the phenomenon of hearing. Or if you prefer, you could come home to the breath, the sensations of breathing. Chest and abdomen rise and fall. Coming home when you wake up to hearing. And when there isn't external sound, there's the internal sound. There's the object and the awareness of the object. Same with the breath. The mystery of that which is aware and the sensations in the body of breathing. Please notice the tone, the feeling tone of your life at this moment. Pleasant, unpleasant, striving to have a different experience, accepting this experience. Should something be different than it is? Should it be different? And with awareness in that realm we call mind or thinking or intention, even closer, please notice as I now make this suggestion. Please notice the arising of the intention to open the eyes. And then allow that intention to operationalize itself, to occur. And notice how seeing objects magically appear. They don't exist, and then they do exist. Seeing, awareness of seeing. Just as we can use mindfulness of in-breathing and out-breathing as our training object, home base, and just as we can use sound, exactly can we use seeing. Seeing and knowing it. And then, are the objects of seeing pleasant, unpleasant, or indeterminate? And now attending to the body and noticing, does it want to stretch? And then let it stretch a little bit, very present and mindful. Are the sensations of stretching pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? Being very curious about the pulling toward pleasure and the pushing against discomfort. I once knew a man who somehow or another decided or had the experience that all discomfort was to be avoided. Of course, I guess that's the realm of addiction, isn't it? But in this particular case, it also meant no stretching. And I don't know if you notice, if you have a dog or a cat or have been around one, downward dog. And stretching is part of what creatures do. And if we don't, especially as we age, it gets less and less flexible. And he became completely incapacitated, and I'm not sure what actually became of him in the end, but he became chair-bound for no particular reason other than it didn't feel good to stretch. And of course, we can do that with our minds. We can be at war with life changing, demand it to stay a certain way, and then we get more and more rigid. So to help us with this moving flexibility thing, we have Jim Dalton, flapping his hands. So what we'll do, for those of you that are here for the first time, Jim will guide us for about 20 minutes in movement, mindfully. I will return and I'll be giving a slideshow, brief slideshow, and then talking about liking and disliking and how it pushes us around. And then we have coffee and tea and goodies. So, schmoozing for you.
Got too many things here. All right, let's see what this has come off. Yeah. Boom. Now I can keep track of my chords. All right. So let's get in touch with our feet. And our connection with the earth, through the floor into the earth. And just sink into the knees and rise up and feel the change in position, your knees and your ankles and your hips. Talk to each other and organize a little dip and a little rise. And Robert suggested we use sound as the anchor for our sitting meditation. We could also add sound to our movement procedure here. Let's create a ball of energy in front of us, and when we breathe in, we'll open, and when we breathe out, we'll just sigh. And again. Once more. We'll just hold steady for a minute. Next time we'll start again. We'll just use the syllable Om. So we'll dip and breathe in. And dip and Om. 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 Okay, then just rest for a second. We'll do it again, but the sound will be inside rather than outside. So just hear the sound in your imagination. Dip and breathe in and listen. Then relax the arms down, breathe in, and listen. Now this one might get a little trickier. Breathe in and listen. Breathe in and listen. Some of you are not on the right pitch. Breathe in and listen over here. Come back to the center and harmonize with everybody else. Then release the arms and sink. Cross the wrists. Breathe in. Listen. Fading, fading, fading. Breathe in. Now this one's a little tricky too. Breathe in and listen. Breathe in and listen. And we'll sink. Breathe in. And listen, going down. Then come to stillness for a moment. I've been playing with this all week since Richard Lang was here. Trying to figure out, when I speak, my voice comes from, or the sound of my voice comes from my voice box. But when I imagine and listen, where does it come from? It's the same place that he was talking about. Seeing. There's a place like that in here. So play with that while we do the rest of the Shibashi. Lift up, lifting the heel, and listen. And then you can just play with it the way you want to. And where does it come from? And turn, gaze at the moon, and listen. Pressing across. Reach up for cloud hands. Step to the corner and splash in the sea. Ride the waves. Open the arms. And turn. Open to the other side. Listen. And listen. waves. Open the arms. And back to the center. These will be fun. Think. Let the dragon rise from the sea. Where does that dragon come from? And the herons flying through the air up on your toes. Turning the wheel. Changing direction. Back to the center. Get our feet square underneath our shoulders. Lift one leg and one arm. And then the centering breath will be very simple again. Listen. Then we come to stillness. You can listen to the in-breath as well as the out-breath. So you can experiment with hearing the Om with each breath. You can hear it either on the inhale or the exhale. You can hear it on both. Or you can drop the Om and just listen to the sound of silence. So Robert is focused on the second foundation of mindfulness. And foundation feels like a really heavy, cemented word. But that's not what it feels like as you work with it. It's a continuous momentum in a particular area of practice. Could be breath, could be hearing, could be moving rhythmically or moving non-rhythmically. There's lots of different things. But what's the feeling tone in the second foundation? Is it something positive that we're feeling as it unfolds? Is it something negative? And the third one, I just heard the other day referred to as upekkha. It's the beginning of equilibrium, equanimity. I've always heard it described as undecided or neutral, but equilibrium feels much better, much more dynamic. It's not such a foundation of concrete. It's a system, a flowing system. So choose your system and play. Okay, we'll do it one more time. Sync and use your voice box and Om. Om. Breathe in. Thank you very much. Want my glasses? I don't know how I did that. There we go. Good luck. Set off base. What? Comes back.
Good morning, everybody. You guys really warmed it up in here. My name's Kate, and I get to tell you about what's going on. If you want to get notices about what's going on and you want to be part of our community communications, there's a sign-up list at the back of the room. Please add yourself, and I will add you to our list so you'll be sure and get announcements. Because we have so much going on. Coming up in the next month or so, Doyle, do you want to talk about your class? I'm sorry, caught you off guard. Go.
Since it's about skillful speech, I always want to talk. Anybody here ever suffer from foot and mouth disease? Yeah. All right. Well, I have a cure for you. So if you'll show up Saturday morning at 9:30 here, I will take you through a day of taking care of that, maybe once and for all. We'll look at what the Buddha taught about skillful speech, and I'm going to give you a massive dose. It'll be like when you starting to get a cold and you take the high dosage vitamin C and zinc and all that good stuff. This will be something like that. It's called nonviolent communication. And I'm going to give you a huge dose of that to help cure that foot and mouth disease. And then if you really like it and you want to go a little bit deeper, then the following 4 Tuesdays, starting on March 7th, from 6:30 to 8:30, each of those 4 Tuesdays in March, will go into greater depth on that. All right? I need at least 10 people committed to the retreat and the classes. By the way, if you want to take the classes, you need to come to the retreat, because I typically offer this training over the course of 8 weeks, and there's 16 hours of training. And I wanted to condense that because I know a lot of you are really busy, and I wanted to help as many people as I could get it into as short a time span as possible. So I need at least 10 people to commit to at least the retreat, and hopefully the classes as well. So if you're on the fence, please get off of it and go register, and let's get together and have some fun. There's going to be, I'm really excited because I haven't put this class together in quite this way before, and I'm just really excited about how it seems to be coming together, and to get a chance to share that with you. And then as a side note, I will be available for consultations afterwards this morning if anyone wants to talk about what's going on in your life in terms of the Dharma.
And there is a sign-up sheet for that at the back of the room, too, if you want to have a Dharma consultation with Doyle. Kirsten, there she is. Come on up. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. Oh, hello.
Hello.
There you go.
Okay. So I'm Kirsten. I help with volunteer coordination along with Ruth. Ruth, wave at everybody. We work on that together. So there's a couple things going on. First of all, we love all our volunteers, but we do need more of you. Kate would really like some more help with hospitality. We have lovely snacks for you after today, and that happens because we have all these wonderful volunteers helping and bringing things. So if you're interested in that, you can talk to Ruth or I, or even Kate about the hospitality one, but there's all kinds of volunteer needs here. So if you're interested, find us. Next, on March 10th, which is not this Friday, but the following, we have our talent night, which is actually more like show and tell for all ages. So you can come on and share something with us, or if you just want to come and support the people who want to share, that's wonderful. So come and join us. It'll be Friday here in this room, the 10th of March. It'll be on the calendar starting at 6 o'clock. And the last thing is we've picked a date for our volunteer work party. It's going to be April 15th. And it'll be a Saturday all day from probably 9 until 4. And we'll bring food and share for the lunch break, but other than that, we'll be cleaning the space, doing the things that need to happen on a less regular basis, a couple times a year, right, Kate? We'd love to see you all there. Anyone who wants to just come for that day, that's wonderful. And this community is made possible by all of us helping. So thank you.
Thank you, Kirsten. Just for those of you who might not know, all of our classes and offerings are by donation. There's a suggested donation. If you can't afford that amount, you can go to our website, and when you go to sign up, it says, this is how much I can pay. So we don't ever want anybody not going to something that they want to do because you don't have the funds right now. So please keep that in mind. And I know it's a little hard to do, but take advantage of it. It's how we love each other. So let's see. Michael Midgel, where are you? I saw you. Did you want to say something about anything today? No. Okay. We do have the donations for the community. These go to transition projects. It's items for those who are either homeless or getting into a home. So warm clothing, household items. But do keep it simple. But anything that people could use going into a new home. Is that right, Michael? Okay. And so it looks like Michael has recently emptied it, so it could use filling again. Let's see. Hospitality, Kirsten mentioned it. Go through the mysterious door after the Dharma talk. We have coffee, tea, friendship, people who, if you have questions, if you're new here, could those of you who are here regularly just raise your hands? So if you want to talk to somebody about your practice, find one of us, and we'd love to talk to you. And I know it's hard the first time, but try it. You'll love it. Took me a year. I love it. The Stewardship Circle Retreat, for those of you who are not aware of it, this community is, of course, supported by your generosity of the heart. There are lots of ways to give. There's the Donna Bowl at the back of the room. You can give one time online. But we particularly love those of you, we love all of you. But it's nice. it's nice when you join the stewardship circle and give on a monthly basis, because that makes it easier to budget, and we know how much we have to support the community. And once a year, we have a stewardship circle retreat for those of you in particular who have signed up for any amount monthly giving. Others who are interested can also come. But that will be March 25th. And looking forward to seeing you there. I don't think do we have a topic for that yet, Robert? Okay. But he will have by March 25th. I think that's about it, Robert. Did you want to maybe talk about the class that you're starting soon? Okay, perfect. Then it's lovely to see you all.
pleasant. Hello to those of you that are joining us in internet land. Glad you're here. There it is. Oh, I was to mention my upcoming class starting in just a couple of weeks. If it's ready for you to, the title is Dive In. Why not dive in? If you're ready to take a leap and actually start practicing at home on a regular basis, it's an 8-session class over 10 or 11 weeks on a Wednesday night. In which I'll be encouraging you to really practice every day. And what happens, of course, at the beginning, not of course, but I've observed it many times, there's a lot of obstacles because our lives are very difficult. And almost everyone has a misunderstanding about meditation, which is that it should be bliss. I am now meditating, I am in bliss. When in fact, to meditate, to do insight meditation, is to encounter life on its own terms. And there's a colorful term, the vicissitudes of life. The constant changing polarities. Pleasant up high, unpleasant. Success, failure. Fame, disrepute. Being respected, being dismissed. The relationship is going really well and then it's really crappy. The child is doing well in school and then they're not. Healthy and sick, and maybe sick for a while. Lots of concentration, no concentration. This universe exists as polarities. Out of the nothing came the universe. Matter and antimatter. If ever all the matter and antimatter were to meet one another in just the right place, the universe would just disappear. That's weird. So, our lives are unstable beyond our wildest capacity to accept. There's one political regime is in power and we get the sense of, oh, it's going in this direction now forever, and then another political regime comes into power and it's going in a different direction. It's always like that. So when we meditate, we need community support, we need some instruction, we need someone to hold our hand when it gets really unpleasant, to tell us, yeah, this moment sucks, right? In this moment, there's more grief than your heart can handle, or you're more enraged than you've ever been before, or the PTSD is fired up and you're having flashbacks, or you thought this relationship was forever, and then you were betrayed, or they died, and to actually practice insight meditation is to develop wisdom, and the primary wisdom is that there is nothing stable. Everything is impermanent. And it's one thing to say that, but it's another to really take it in and to live with it, and then be maybe still just as much surprised, but to do less, it shouldn't be like this. It's like, stop whining. Because it is like this. Maybe I'll share that poem with you. I've done it several times of late. Can I find it? Let me think. Yeah. The Dakini Speaks. This is one of those kind of come to Jesus poems. It's like whack. It's really like this. ST. Too many poems. Nah. Here it is. It's by Jennifer Wellwood. Some of you know of her husband more, his work on relationship as a spiritual path. But here she is on her own recognizance. My friends, let's grow up. Let's stop pretending we don't know the deal here. Or if we truly haven't noticed, let us wake up and notice. Look, everything that can be lost will be lost. It's simple. How could we have missed it for so long? Let us grieve our losses fully like ripe human beings, but please, let's not be so shocked by them. Let's not act so betrayed as though life had broken her secret promise to us. Impermanence is life's only promise to us, and she keeps it with ruthless impeccability. To a child, she seems cruel, but she is really only wild. And her compassion is exquisitely precise, brilliantly penetrating, luminous with truth. She strips away the unreal to show us the real. This is the true ride. Let us give ourselves to it. Let's stop making deals for a safe passage. There isn't one anyway, and the cost is too high. We are not children anymore. The true human adult gives everything for that which cannot be lost. Let's dance the wild dance of no hope. Phew. So this class I'm offering Wednesday nights, could you give me a glass of water? We'll be practicing together. We'll be reading Tara Brach's book, True Refuge, which basically points out these are all the things we'll run into in our meditation practice that we resist. I mean, it is kind of it's kind of disappointing. There's sometimes not such truth in advertising. Come on a meditation retreat and you'll be happy. Well, it's true you'll be happy, but mostly after. Right? When you get the shot and your shoulder swells up and you have the brief fever here, it's like that. But this really is about happiness and freedom. But how do we become happy? Thank you, Kate. How do we become happy and free from suffering? It's to discover how we're creating the suffering by clinging to shoulds. Marshall Rosenberg speaks of should is the most violent word in the English language. And it's really true. This incidentally, I was prompted by a conversation this morning to bring this here. If you want to come up sometime and look, these are little fragments of calcium left over from Ruth Denison. And if you really want to be bold, you can take off the top and look in. There it is. That's what's left. It's not Ruth. It's also not, this is to honor Ruth's perspective on such things, it's also not particularly sacred. It's no more sacred than these keys. It's leftover calcium. But it can, in our hearts, bring up a memory of this remarkable human being without whom this center wouldn't exist. So, it's nice to have here. So, and then last thing about the class or not class, take time every day. And I'm of the mind that one's time of practice, when we remember to be present, is the single greatest thing we can do for world peace. It may well be important to call your congressmen and senators. It may well be important to practice loving in many different ways. But to not stop and train the mind, to not stop and give time to realize, oh, I'm not these thoughts. I'm not this emotion. I'm not this sense of hopelessness. I'm not this sense of rage or despair, or I'm not this sense of joy or happiness. Or they're the weather. So who am I? Well, I'm that in which it takes place. Richard Lang, who was here last week, told me one of his students showed up with a t-shirt, and I love it. I'm tempted to get some made. I was an atheist until I realized that I'm God. And it's not God, some man sitting somewhere out on a cloud. It's that which is awake. It's the Buddha. It's good one, isn't it? So come and join the group that Wednesday night class. It'll be a good one. I find myself often reflecting on this myself and sharing it and teaching. It's from Alan Watts. This feeling of being very lonely and temporary visitors in the universe is in flat contradiction to everything known about humans and all other living organisms in the sciences. We do not come into this world. We come out of it as leaves come out of a tree. As the ocean waves, the universe peoples. Every individual is an expression of the whole realm of nature, a unique action of the total universe. We come out of this world, not into it. We are the earth dancing. We are the one. We are that which is unspeakable and unknown and unimaginable, manifesting itself as us for a little while. And we get to have conversations with each other and have conflict with each other and subscribe to different ideologies and then go to war with each other and make love with each other. And we do this thing and then we disappear. And as I understand spiritual practice and spiritual awakening, it's to realize that, it's the droplet that wakes up to itself. To realize that and then to live much more kindly with each other and much more lovingly, and also daring to connect, daring to really be intimate with each other, because we know we can bear the separation, because who we are really is neither of these, it's that from which they emerge. And to spiritual practice, unlike philosophy or even scientific exploration of matter and so on, spiritual practice is about cultivating that experience, the experience of being able to be content even though the vicissitudes are flaring all over the place. So, each of us were born, I mean, that's bizarre enough. We came out of nowhere, and then we were born, and then we've gone through somebody training, and we're somebody in a mammalian body. And in order to survive, this organism must be a pleasure and pain-driven device, right? Hand gets cold, we warm it up. Body sugar gets low, hunger arises, we become hypersensitized to scent and certain vision, and we're drawn toward that. We're programmed for desire, sexual desire, because otherwise we wouldn't be here. And what the Buddha discovered through his very precise observation was that we have 6 portals on the world. We have 6 sense doors. In the guided meditation this morning, I mentioned hearing, body, breathing, and then with the eyes, sound, with the eyes, visual objects. So our windows on the world are seeing. Tune into them as I point them out. Become aware of seeing, hearing, scent, not much, taste, body, and mind. Imagine your kitchen sink for a moment. That's mind. Remember something that happened in your life that you feel regret about, or you hold some enemy image about somebody that, I'll never forgive them because of that. That's mind. Think of some anxiety for the future. Climate change. That exists in mind. So there's seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and mind. It's possible. Please become aware that you're seeing, or that there is seeing. How does that happen? I have no idea. But it's possible that there can be awareness of seeing. And if that can happen, then there can also be awareness of hearing, awareness of thinking, and all of a sudden the world changes. Because if there can be awareness of thinking, then there can be awareness of what I've been conditioned to believe, or how this mind is reacting to the present circumstance. With awareness of mind and body together, which is where mood happens, right? All mood is bioelectronic, right? There's something happening in the body when there's mood. If there can be awareness of mood, then there's this remarkable shift, life-changing shift from I'm depressed to there are these symptoms that I'm interpreting as depression. From I am angry into there's anger. And then the ability to tease apart anger, which is that something displeasing is happening and the mind is striking against it, and then the self is identifying with it, and then I'm angry, and suddenly I have an enemy. And often the enemy is myself, right? I did this stupid thing again, and what's wrong with me? I keep doing this. What's wrong with me? Oh, thinking, self-hating thinking. Fortunately, I don't have to take it seriously. And if I don't take it seriously, then it arises and then it disappears, and then there's something fresh happening. That's why the Buddha spoke so much about mindfulness and talked about how a moment of mindfulness is a very weighty karma, a very weighty intentional action. Great stuff, huh? What was that book? Where did the word grok come from? Stranger in a Strange Land. Right. The water of life. Water of life. I am this water. It is me for a little while. So, how are we doing? Oh God, look at the time. Have to hurry now. Or, let's plug this in. Liking and disliking. We can't get rid of liking and disliking because we're dependent on it to live. But we can become very attuned to noticing how it's pushing us around. Oh, there we are. That is our planetary self. That's a flag I can fly. If it comes to flags. Picture of us. So, we have this. Do we? You're not moving. There you go. Dun, dun, dun. We have the Eightfold Path. I'm going to have to zip right through, though, because I want to talk about liking and disliking. Can you see? Is my here it is. Cursor coming? Shout if you see it on that screen, will you? Was it? Is it this way? How utterly weird. Isn't technology terrific? Hang on, I'll look and see this thing. Displays. Arrangement. Side by side. Oh. Is it this one? Is it this one? Okay. I may just do it by word. Oh, there it is. I have no idea how that happened. So, let's just go right over here to wise mindfulness. And it comes up over here. I have to drag it over. The four foundations of mindfulness. There's mindfulness of the body, feelings, mind, mental formations, and mental objects. Whoops. We are going to focus into here. And bring them in here. Whoops. There we go. The Buddha discovered, and we're invited to experiment and see, is it true that every time a sense object encounters the sense door, you, light, an extension of brain tissue that forms the retina, you, that consciousness, seeing consciousness arises. In that process, we are wired and conditioned for the visual object to be pleasant, unpleasant, or indeterminate, not yet decided, neutral. So, beautiful objects, visual objects, and we're drawn to them. Unpleasant, ugly objects, we're pushed away from. The examples I always think here are a beautiful human being of the type that we're drawn to, or a beautiful flower, Or there's an image I saw once of after the Aceh, the big the tsunami. I was looking at a picture and it looked like a bunch of logs floating in the water, and I suddenly realized, good God, those are people. And there was this, oh, God, don't want to see that. So pleasant, unpleasant, and then mostly neutral. If you look around this room, the art pieces are intended to be a moment of focus that's pleasant, though it could be unpleasant if you had an unpleasant association with it. But the wall, mostly we don't even notice the walls, they're the background. So visual objects can be pleasant, unpleasant, or indeterminate. Sound objects, here's a simple one. For me, that's very pleasant. But then there's that first moment when the attack, and we're driven away from it because it's actually even dangerous if we're with too much loud noise. And then most sounds are neutral or unnoticed. Though in a moment's notice, without a moment's notice, it can change to being unpleasant. Something that is pleasant suddenly turns. So we've got sight, sound, smell. Certain smells are very pleasant. Certain smells are really unpleasant. In my youth, I worked in a lab in Switzerland for a while, and we were a complicated thing, but we had concentrated putrescine, which is the active ingredient in rotting meat. It's a poison, and we were using it for a particular test purpose. And one drop of it would fill a room like this, and we'd all run out of here. For survival reasons, we've learned that you don't go near that smell. It's very unpleasant. So smell can be pleasant, unpleasant, or indeterminate. Taste, the same. Body sensations, hand cold, body too hot, hunger, physical pain. And so we're naturally drawn to the pleasant, and the mind resists the unpleasant and ignores much of the so-called neutral. And then the mind. Anxiety isn't much fun, is it? There's the feeling in the body, and there's that whole story that the mind does of fear and remembering this and remembering that. And the mind also can be incredibly pleasant. It can be remembering something nice, or we can having some nice ideas, listening to a nice lecture. And then there's a lot of stuff in the mind that we don't react too much because it's just not particularly distinct. So, without mindfulness, we create a self which is the collection of thoughts, moods, body sensations that are here right now, and we react to them. With mindfulness, there's this chasm in a certain way that opens up, in which we're no longer identified with, we're no longer enthralled by, we're no longer hypnotized by that which is happening in the mind. Somewhat tangentially, all substances of abuse have a quick onset, right? Oh, I feel better now. Why? It's because they allow us to change. Oh, I forgot drinking. Look, I have to do them all. Or click. Oh, whew, sports thing is happening. We do them because the present moment is not acceptable. I do not have the capacity to sit in equanimity or ease and have this unpleasant phenomenon happening. So what do we do in meditation? We do this really weird thing, which is why meditation is not so popular. It's not this kind of meditation in particular has not been and will not be a mass movement because it's too hard. And what do? Well, we take a comfortable upright posture, and it doesn't have to be cross-legged. Comfortable upright posture, and then I'm going to sit here for a while and pay attention to my breathing or the sounds. And then what will I encounter? Well, my knee hurts, or my back hurts, or my teeth are hurting, or... And especially if we sit for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, there starts to be this resistance. I don't like it. And so then we're involved in the experiment of bearing the unbearable. And it's from that bearing the unbearable that we grow up. And everyone in this room has done tons of this just to become an adult, right? If we can't bear the unbearable, then we act out all the time. So then, how about mind? We sit down and the mind is restless, or the mind is undecided. The mind is struggling about what should I do, what shouldn't I do? Is this the right thing? Should I commit more fully in this relationship? Should I get out of this relationship? What should I do tomorrow? What shall I do today for fun? I had great fun yesterday, great, wonderful. I was not feeling great, and actually I met Kate here in the morning, and I had this debate, poor me, this is first world suffering, really. Well, shall I stay home and then work on the taxes? That was not so pleasant. Or should I go skiing? I'm a little tired to go skiing. So I sat here in my office for a while, and I ultimately went skiing. And it was wonderful. And why was it wonderful? Because when hurtling at high speed on skis, there's only one place to be. Now. There's also the beauty of the movement and all that. But mostly, the real pleasure of it comes because the past and future are gone. And it was a wonderful afternoon of meditation, actually, very present. So, there's more to this. Over here, a pleasant sensation, unobserved, leads to grasping, jealousy, and clinging. Right? I'm having this pleasant sensation, and if you watch in the middle of a pleasant experience, you might notice that there's this, how can I get this again? How can I have this extended? So unobserved, there's grasping, jealousy, clinging, or observed, a pleasant sensation can produce joy, ease, and happiness, like, wow, this is pleasant. I'm aware of this pleasant, and it's arising because of conditions, and the conditions are going to go away, and it doesn't mean, oh, well, I won't enjoy it. I can accept it. I can accept its impermanence. There's that William Blake poem, "He who binds to himself a joy doth the winged life destroy. She who kisses the joy as it flies lives in eternity's sunrise." So then, how do I get over there? Come on now. An unpleasant sensation or experience, unmindfully experienced, leads to aversion, judgment, rigidity, and fear. Or unpleasant, clarity, steadfastness, wisdom. One of the reasons I wanted to talk about this today was that so many people have been having difficulty with our present political situation on either side of the fence. That people are frightened and worrying all the time and creating enemy images, and if we can't move to equanimity and accept the way the world actually is, which doesn't mean we won't act, but then we're always in uproar. And we can be in uproar about our partner who is not acting the way we want, or any circumstance, and we can continuously keep ourselves upset. And that's of no help. It doesn't allow us to be loving. More on that. There's the practice of metta meditation, of loving kindness practice. And the phrases, may I be happy, may I be free from fear and danger, may I live with ease and grace, may I be liberated. And we can reflect on ourselves, on a loved one, on a teacher, on others, on the world, on the enemy. Where this leads is an attitude of acceptance of the world as it is, to love the world as it is. And that means we can love, we can have metta for the very most unpleasant. Here I am, I'm waiting in the ICU waiting room, and I don't know how my loved one is doing. And I'm freaking out, maybe. We can be at war with freaking out, or we can have metta for that and realize this is the human condition. This conditioned being is very worried right now. And so worry, very unpleasant experience, worry is held in a field of love, and we don't have to be desperate to get rid of the worry, because we can't. Is this making sense? It's a movement toward wisdom which acknowledges that the vicissitudes of life are normal. It's not a mistake. It's not a mistake when things fall apart. Things always fall apart. I am particularly fond of relationship when it's, what I really like is fusion. Yes. Connection. Yeah, we're grooving, how wonderful. What I really don't like is conflict. But every friendship and intimate relationship will oscillate between these poles. If it really gets terrific and super close together, wow, wait. Because conflict will arise. And my propensity is, oh no, conflict, I don't like that. But as I'm slowly growing up, I'm realizing, well, this is conflict and this is alienation, and now there's more work to do. To be able to stay in love, not in love as in romantic love, but in metta, for the mind which is uncertain. If we can't bear the uncertainty that comes with change, then we can't change. And I've been noticing some of this in myself with the center, with the growth in teaching and the new policy things we have to create, and this person's conditioning to always have everyone like him. That's really a bear, because some people like one and other people don't, and sometimes someone likes you now and doesn't like you then. And so making decisions that someone might not like, I avoid, because that could feel bad. But to become aware of it, it's like, oh, that feels bad. Okay, so there's fear, here's a decision. I guess I just need to make the decision and see what happens. But there's a natural resistance to it that you may recognize in your own life. So, moving on to this one, can I get there? Neutral or undecided. Many of you have heard me tell this. The first time I encountered real deep equanimity, it was in the middle of the night. And I went and woke my teacher up in the middle of the night, and I said, I think I'm dying, because there was nothing happening. And he asked a few questions, and he said, oh, that's contentment. You may get used to it. Because not much is happening, and well, I'm bored. Right? I'm not struggling with an emotion. I'm not having great insights. What's the point? Or, oh, this feels really nice. Right? There's no Sturm und Drang, but only if observed mindfully. So I invite you. I think the kids in the chute. We can practice mindfulness of breathing, mindfulness of the body, very useful. But one whole section, a fourth of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, is observing liking and disliking. So I invite you to bring into your practice liking and disliking as a practice. If you come to after and you get a little plate of food, before you eat the plate of food, pause and look at the hierarchy of desire that there is for the things on the plate. It exists. The thing you eat first, maybe the one you want most, or maybe you save that to the end. But without this observing of liking and disliking, we can't really grow. So, time to move on. Thank you all for coming and for listening so intently. I guess one last thing, there's a sign at Wat Pah Nanachat in Thailand from Ajahn Chah that says in Thai and then in English, if you're still being driven by your feelings, by Vedana, by this, pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, if you're still being driven by Vedana, you haven't begun to practice. So let's become aware of this drawn toward and pushed away from. Thank you. Please, let's make a big circle, and then the kids will come in and we'll do our closing. Twice. Once again. Yay, thanks. Wow. It's a herd. Hello. Test 1, 2. Oh, low bat. Hello. So, thank you, Monica. Thank you, parents, for bringing these beautiful children and for helping out with them back there. Please hold a hand if you have one nearby, or a knee if you hold a knee. Thanks. The mysterious universe presents itself as the other. We can be in fear and rejection of the other. And it depends upon how our mind is operating. If we're creating distinction and a zero-sum game, then we may have to get rid of the other. But we also are capable of reflecting, remembering, this other who's holding my hand really wants to be happy. He cares about others, about themselves. And they're carrying quite a big bag. Every person we meet has some great burden that they're working with. So we can wish them well. We can give their hand a little squeeze. And what thought, what prayer, what wish would you offer to the person on your left? Or the person on your right? Recognizing that they too, like you, will say goodbye to everyone and everything. Remembering this, we can only love each other. And so now we have the ritual of the singing of the chant. Do we have chosen? Okay. Are you right together? Fantastic. So please join in. When you're ready, get close though. Get close to the microphone. All right. We're having very strict rules today. I'm going to count like this. This is not the count. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and blow. Not yet, but hang on. This is very highly difficult engineering. So please take a deep breath. Make your great wish. Only with go. Actually, we could be patient. Let's all sit down. Isn't patience difficult? Do you know how patience comes? It's by being impatient consciously. Yuck. All right. Get on with it, Robert. On the count, take a deep breath. Make your wish. 1, 2, 3, go. Yes, go. Yes! We succeeded. Fantastic. Yay! Thanks for joining us here, and please come have some coffee, tea, goodies, and some wonderful connection with each other.